Can
Um,
you hear me?
yeah, hey, Walter.
Hey, buddy. What's up?
Walter's a smart man. He went from Chicago to Miami Beach with he avoided the 200 million people storm.
With five teenagers.
Yeah, with 5 teenagers in South Beach. Oh boy. Well, I'm not going to say that. But anyways, I want to introduce Walter for a couple of reasons. One, we've been friends for over 20 years, and one of the he was also a customer at our desk on the trading floor. Geez, for most of it. When he was at Refco, he used the desk. I think when he went to the other firms he was at, he was using our desk. But Walter was really, really ahead of the curve, meaning that when open outcry started to go away, he had already been involved in systems trading. Um, and the big thing was that we would take these orders and they were mostly reversal systems, weren't they, Walter?
Yes.
I mean, like you guys would buy 80 big S&Ps and then you'd sell 80 S&Ps. You'd go from long to short. And and I'm not gonna tap our back, but a lot of clients that use our desk use us because we weren't one part of a broker group. Two, we didn't trade our own accounts, and three, we were in there fighting for fills, which was what no one did down there. Everybody thought we were fucking crazy when we would complain about fills because everybody was on the slide. You know, I mean, a bad fill, somebody would get the other side of it and make money on it. And Walter's guys would get on the phone. They'd say, "Danny, that's a shitty fill," or you know. But we were always down there working on it. And over the years, Walter, what was your original firm's name? I've forgotten it.
Well, I was with LFG back in the day, Linko.
Yeah, but what was your firm name?
Well, then we started IPG, but then it was Attain Capital.
Attain Capital, right?
Correct.
And Attain Capital was pretty big. They had a lot of customer seg funds. Um, but anyways, the thing is that we became very good friends over a long period of time, and I think that Walter knew that we were on his side, working on behalf of the clients that gave him money to trade those systems. But obviously, I think we all know this. That we live in a more oriented, um, algorithmic, high frequency trading arena. I think that they say that now most of the volume, not just in the S&P, um, not just in the S&P or Nasdaq, but this is in a cross section. I think Walter could talk about that. Um, there's systems that trade beans. There's a system that trades the Swiss franc. There's metal systems. Every sector that's out there, there's a trading system for it. But anyways, we've been friends all these years, and obviously, as the floor got smaller and smaller, a lot of the stuff that we were doing for Walter in the pit, even after they reduced the size of the big S&P, went electronic. And I've talked to Walter extensively about this. I personally think, this is just my thoughts, that while you may love to trade your own account, and I think we all do, or we wouldn't be here. Hold on 1 minute. Let's see. Hey, Marlon, can you hit Java Kitty?
Can they not hear me? Or
Yeah, you guys can hear Walter, right? Okay, and other people can too. Okay, great. Anyways, I'm like everybody. I mean, I think everybody would agree. Um, you make, you make, you make, and then you lose. It's similar to like short options premium selling. These guys collect, and then they take a hit. And at the end of last year or in November, you know, I'm not going to explain what my totals were, but the I lost a third of my year in one day, and still nothing. But anyways, I was talking to Walter at this time because we were working on a separate project, And I said, Walter, he said, are you still trading this stuff for yourself? And I said, yeah. And I said, it's hard. He said, no, it's like impossible. You got to get into some of these systems. So to tell you the truth, I think the way to go would be to really give this a long, hard look. And this doesn't mean that you have to stop your day trading or your position trading or anything, but some of these systems are just up big. I know that DAX system has really performed well, right, Walter?
Yes.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm going to turn it over to Walter, and I'll be seeing you tomorrow at some point, right?
Yes. We'll be
Okay.
there probably
And
like mid-afternoon with all my
okay,
kids.
okay, great. Well, they can jump in the pool and they can use the golf cart. Um, well, we go to happy hour. But
Right.
anyways, I'll let Walter take it over from here. Very, very interesting company. They've got, I think, 1,200 trading systems running at once. So hard not to find something you don't like in any of this. But anyways, Walter, thanks for coming in. I'll let you take it from here.
Sure. And thank you for the intro. I guess to step back a little bit, I started in the trading pits in the mid 90s. And I was at the board of trade. Danny was at the CME, and I had three older brothers down there. And so I was kind of the whipping boy of the pit, so I learned a lot about trading. I learned a lot about how it worked down there. For me, the trading pits just wasn't for me because I'm more of a business person. I like to plan things. I had a business in college that I was very successful. I had a business plan, and so being on the floor was much more instinctive. And so when I left the floor, I was one of the top retail brokers at LFG. And the problem was, the emotions of the clients and the trading, and a lot of clients they weren't they wouldn't follow their own rules. They would over leverage themselves. I would try to help them and try to talk them into being more consistent, which if there are tools like there is today with this exact chat room, I think people would be much more successful. But back then it just wasn't like that. And so I kind of went back to the drawing board and said, okay, well, what if I got my clients to be systematic? And so I started researching systems, and systems have got a bad rap back then because people would post performance that simply would not line up in the accounts, and or you couldn't get the right execution. And so what my goal was is, with the clients is, look, I'll run these systems for you. I them exactly how they'll do it. I went out and got over. I had people in every single trading pit from New York to Chicago. Danny was my guy in the S&P, so I would have direct all the pits. So when we got an order, we'd go in there, and then I knew who was working the orders. I knew what they were doing. They would get better fills. Sometimes they get worse fills, but at least I wasn't using a retail desk who didn't know who I was, who didn't care who I was. And so I went to great lengths where, I'd had go in the pit, I'd meet the filling brokers. I know the guys taking the orders, because then my pitch back then is like, look, I'll follow this system. And I bet I'm going to get better execution than any other broker on the street because I know the guys in the pits. It's not going to be the best every single time because that's trading and that's the market. But I can tell you that, I got people personally that I know that I can call upon to do it. And that's where Danny and I's relationship started. Over the years, as technology started gaining, we created a platform called iBroker, which I won't get into now. It's a mobile trading solution. You can go to ibroker.com, but that's one of our other products. And that's what really led to iSystems, which we'll get into. iBroker is a mobile trading app from anywhere. I've got a team of 24 people in Madrid that support me. That's where all my support is. My partner's been there. He's been my partner for about 17 years now. So it was a very solid foundation. And so as we built that and we had the execution lines, then it really went back to, okay, the system business. Let's get back into the system business. And so we wanted to really redefine the system business entirely. And it took great lengths. My business partner was on the board of directors at the NFA. Going to the NFA, talking to them, getting on the same page to say, look, we want to create an environment where clients can have confidence in the platform. And that's something I'm going to say a lot during this presentation because, to me, picking a system is a philosophy question. And we'll talk about that. A system doing great right now that's in a drawdown, that's new, that's a swing, that's a day trade, things like that. But we give all the information to the client. And so I really pitch, transparency and consistent and confidence in the platform. So what makes us truly unique is we're running about 1,300 systems, and people have to submit the system to us. No one is sending us signals from their basement that's going to some server and executing because we don't know if they're actually following a system. I can't rely on the back test. So for us, they have to send us the code. We've got servers in Chicago and also other places around the world, but we've co-located with the CME and CQG. And so, our execution lines are as close as we can get, but we're not high frequency. So a system might trade once a day, maybe twice a day, because things that trade a lot more than that, then slippage comes into the equation, much more of a factor that you can't control. And just so everyone understands, slippage is the difference between where the system thinks you get filled. So if I was not buying 10s and the market's 10 bid at 12 and you pay 12, well, that's 2 ticks of slippage. And that's something that Danny did a great job back in the day, is help controlling that slippage, because slippage is a function of the market, even in the electronic world. So for us, when people send us the systems, we post all the performance, we post everything. And so, and we'll kind of jump into that, because I know I only have about 45 minutes and I could talk for 3 hours. But here is the top 10 of the day. And so this is live trading. You can see it updating. We show the position, we show the nearest order, we show the open profits. From there, you can click on any system to get more information. So if you click on whatever the system is, the silver system, so it's going to show you the actual performance. And so here, actually, let me grab a different system here, because this one doesn't have the testing. So here, this is where the fully transparency comes in, is, the system was loaded. Well, this one's been trading a while. So the system was loaded back in 2013, and then we run the back test. And so when we run the back test, we factor in all considerations of trading. And that's what most people fail to do. It's like when a developer gives me a system, is like, well, I don't add commissions because all brokers are different. Well, my argument is, well, do you drive a car without putting gas in it? It's not realistic. So for us, when we run the back test, we factor in the cost of the system. And for this particular system, it's $105 a month. And everything is one lots, or one contract that we're doing here. There's no money management. So straight one lots, trade by trade. The commission is $12.50 a side, which you can find here. And then we also add in the slippage. And this is the 50-day moving average of what we've experienced in the DAX market. And so when we run our performance, you can see the back test. Now the tan, and I don't know if that's showing up on your screen, but the tan that's when we're tracking it. So it's been loaded on our machines. No one is trading it. The green is actual client trading. So that's where, I tell people, if you were, February's been a good month. If you were to take every single trade and not deviate from the system, you're not going to have a material change between what we're posting on our site to your account. And that's where the confidence in the platform comes in, because back in the day, like January, we'd show down 2,400 and the developer might show on his website up 1,000. Well, now it's a house of cards. Well, what are you showing me? What am I believing? What's on some website? Or Walter, what you're telling me? So, that's where we say every single trade, and we post that, and we'll jump into that. So the trade log. So this is how you can track the positions. So we show you what the sell, this is a sell stop, the hypothetical. Here's the average price. So the average price of the best and worst fill across all clients around the world. So there's no difference from my very large customers to my one lot customers, because what we do is we fire all orders independently. And this is important. So there's no block trading, there's no give up trading. So when we get an order on our side at our servers, we shoot, let's say I've got 5 different FCMs and I got 5 clients at each. We shoot 25 orders instantly directly into all the accounts. So again, no block trading. And what makes this great is, per the NFA, this is a self-directed account. So there's no letter of direction, there's nothing. So you have complete control over the system as far as starting and stopping. So that's important, that we route through CQG directly into the accounts. And so you can track your fills based off what we're posting here. Sometimes you'll get better, sometimes you'll get worse. So again, it depends on when your orders were fired, but they're all fired independently instantly. When I talk more about transparency, here on the bottom left, you can actually download the spreadsheet of all the trade by trades. So you can dive as deep as you want. What happened in the flash crash? What happened in February 2nd of last year? How did this happen? You can get into as much detail as you want. And we update all these trades. So if your account is live, and I'll show you that it's live, but we update, like at the end of today's trade, we'll update all trades across all systems. So you can track this stuff every single day, and you can track a system that you like. We also show the session log. So the session log is how much heat did you take? Because this is a swing system, as you can see from up here. Oh, no, excuse me. This is an intraday system. And so when the swing, I'll show you a little bit more, but here it's a pure intraday system. And what that means is you are always going to be out at the end of the day trading, period. There's no interaction from brokers that can, there's no one that can get involved with not taking the trades or anything like that. So there's no person involved in anything I do. We are 100% automation. So if we go back up here, then we try to provide all the statistics that we can. And a lot of people, you dive into this stuff, the worst session, the best session, the average session, the percent time in the market. It's only in the market 10% of the time. Worst drawdown, which is a number you have to keep your eye on because that's the reality of trading. And there's always kind of a saying when you look at a chart or you look at a system, I always tell people, the biggest drawdown is in front of you, just like, we want equity highs in front of you, because when you look at a system and you decide to trade a system, you're not cherry picking the trades going backwards. So don't cherry pick them going forwards. And that conversation has come up quite a bit. I'll have a client call like, hey, I've been trading, I'm down $10,000. I'm like, okay, well, let's look at your account. Okay, and we'll show them if you had not, if you would have taken all the trades, your account would be up $2,000, but now you're down $10,000, because we'll track if the system's up $500. You can go in, and I'll show you that in a second. You can go in and say, okay, I'm making $500. I think the market's going to roll over. For whatever reason, I want to take profits. You lock in that $500. Well, if the system goes on to make $2,000, we'll show you how you left $1,500 on the table. Just in reverse, if the system goes on to lose $1,000, we'll show you how you outperform the system by $1,500. So that's where it kind of comes to show clients performing against what we're doing on our side. Suggested capital and required capital, and we'll talk about this a couple different times. Suggested capital is that it's what we suggest you need in the account. Here's the calculation. So we say this is what you have, but it's futures trading. So we always get the question, well, no, what's the required capital? That's what I want to know, what I have to have in the account. So the required capital is an important number. And on an intraday system, we take the worst session, and depending on the volatility of the system, we increase it. So here it's $6,000. So at the end of today, if you've got $6,500 in the account, you will have the right to take tomorrow's trade. If you have $5,800 in the account, you will automatically be deactivated, and you're sent an email telling you that you've been deactivated for insufficient funds. Let me pop over here now. Here also, when the top 10 systems that we show, here are the top 10 for today. Here's the top 10 from previous sessions, because a lot of people will be like, oh, the market was down huge. What made money yesterday? Here you go. Here's the last month. Here's the last year. Here's since inception. So again, showing people, these are the numbers that we're talking about, that we're coming up with. What Danny was talking about before is this DAX system, which has been crazy. So we trade a lot of DAX because this is where I started. Is this the one? Yeah, so here's a brand new system. And now here, let's talk about this. So here you'll see the track record isn't as long as the other system we were looking at. And that's because the developer has different philosophies. This developer doesn't think that the market, looking at anything longer than over a year ago, is noise. He thinks the market has changed. To me, I like to see more data, but for him, it's like, why show people things that I don't think exist in the market? So he goes back to March. From there, it's, again, here's where it was tracked. Here's where we're tracking. Here's hypothetical. Here's where we're tracking. Here's where we're live. So that's where the philosophy comes in. To me, and I'll show you another system, I like systems that are in drawdown, because if they're in drawdowns and you can look at the run up since the drawdown, new potential profits for you. Where other people say, look, systems are curve fit by nature to the market. So in July, it was new. August, well, I want to, and hopefully the next 3 to 6 months, the markets stay consistent to how they are trading now. And that's where it's been curve fit to the market. But you can also see this system, your required capital and your suggested capital are much higher. But obviously your reward is higher. So it's all a risk reward game. So if we go to, and that's a question that we also get, by the way, if we only trade futures. We don't trade options, and we only trade liquid futures and all electronic markets. here's another system. So this is a crude oil system. So every sheet is set up the same way. Crude oil system, intraday, $100, and that $100 is prorated. So if you start on the 15th of the month and you start trading the month, it will charge you $50 for the prior month, and then the next month we'll charge you 100 for the next. And then we take the money out, we pay the developer, so there's no credit cards involved as well. So that's kind of important. So you're not locked in the system for $5,000. You're not, looking to make a large investment. The only money you'll ever be out is 1 month of lease fees. We do have flex lease as well, and so when you activate a system, it'll tell you if it's if you trade any more than 5 contracts, we'll give you 20% discount. So there are discounts when it comes to that. So here, if I go back to now my systems, so right now I'm running a Dow system. So it shows you what today's P&L was, what the cumulative is, and it'll show you if there is an open position. And then this is a demo account. So we don't give demo accounts to clients because there's no reason for you to have a demo account. It's so simple to start and stop a system. It's not like a platform. And so that's where, again, I said how you can track these things one day back. But here, why don't we start a system? So because it was not in a position. So if I go into the top 10 and we see, so you can see over here on the right, systems are locked. So this heating oil contract is currently long. So it's a 2-step process. I want to buy the lease. And then now, like here, this one has a flex. So it says, okay, you're going to pay $90 a month. But if you activate up to 10, I'll only charge you $500 a month. And again, now you can pick the units. But here it says, okay, I agree to pay $90 a month, subscribe. And so now it's saying, now always read your disclaimers. I always tell people, read your disclaimers, understand where you're at. If there's questions, always let us know so you know exactly what you're getting into. But you accept the disclaimer, and now it's going to ask you. You've accepted the disclaimer. Now, do you want to take it for a drive? Do you want to activate it? Because just because you accept the disclaimer doesn't mean you're automatically trading. So now you go into activating it. And so now it's like having a conversation. And all of this came back in my days when I have a conversation with my client. Hey, it's currently long from 2016. What do you want to do? You want to get in now? Do you want to get in on next trade? Do you want to get in if better? What do you want to do? Well, let's get in right away. Now, once you accept it, so I've already sent an order. You've bought one at the market. Everything has changed. All stops, limits, orders, everything is placed in the market instantly. So now here you can go back to my system, and now you see the position there. So now I'm long one, and I don't have a position. Well, also down in this bottom corner, which we don't have in the demo accounts because it's just not worth our time actually to put it there, is we will show you in the bottom corner what your liquid balance is, what your total required capital is, and what your buying power. So that's important. And I tell people, this is where people can be as aggressive as they want or non-aggressive. I tell people, look, when you're trading systems, whatever your account balance is, your required capital should be 20 to 30% of that. I have some clients that run really hot. Again, that's leverage. That's their prerogative. Because remember, this is a self-directed account. So you can trade one system in the account or 100. It's all your buying power. So that's good to point out because back in the day, it's like, okay, if I have to, open another account to do another system or another account, no, everything is straightforward. Here, and we don't show it on the demos, but this will show, this is actually an actual client. It'll show what he's up overall, what the systems are up. And this guy's been trading since 2015. And I could show you more where we actually have gotten positive slippage over the years for him, and actually $4,100 in positive slippage. But I show this number that if he's starting and stopping the system on his own, that number is going to reflect if he's doing better than the system or worse than the system. We also show in the chart, he deviated from the system twice, which are the red circles. And you can see here, we track actually very closely. We're actually outperforming what we're showing on the website because of positive slippage, because you get positive and negative slippage because it's all a function of the market. So if I go back here, so again, it hits the same spot. Let's say I was in a Dow system. Okay, you know what? I don't want to start, I don't want to trade anymore. And this is what a lot of clients will do. So, especially on the day trades or the swing to, as well, it'll be okay. I'm going to lock in my $500. I'm going to stop the strategy. And then they can go back in and restart it and then say, okay, I want to take the next trade so I don't miss it. For here, I'm not in a position, so I only have one option. I'm going to stop immediately. And now it's done. Everything has been deactivated for this particular system. As far as required capital, so if I'm running multiple systems and my required capital is $10,000 on all three systems, one might be 2,000, one might be 5,000, one might be 3,000. If the account drops below $10,000, then we automatically deactivate the last system that you had activated, thinking that we want to keep the longest system activated for your account. And this is all automated. So we automatically shoot you an email when anything happens. For swing systems, so let me jump. So swing systems, again, every time you look at a sheet, it's going to tell you the same news. Like, to me, this is a system I would suggest a client to start. We've tracked it for a long time. It's been on our site. It's made a little bit of money. It's down now. This would be something I would say, hey, we're in a drawdown. And you can do all the analysis up here. So once you guys sit down and really sit and play with the site, and all the definitions are here. Here's P&L since it's been tracked. Here's since it's been live. You can shorten your time frame. You can do scattered drawdowns. You can grab and say, okay, I only want to see, X amount of data. I mean, you can break this down any way you like. So for this one, it being a swing system, you see the required is 5,300. So I don't know the margin on a crude. It's got to be $3,000 or $4,000. So on swing systems, our required capital is higher than that, because for us, we say you need 100% of the margin, plus we got to factor in our worst session and daily risk. So at the end of the day, if this account is at $5,000, we're going to automatically deactivate it. Knock on wood, we've never had a debit, we've never had a margin call, because we're proactive on how we do this. But so when a client starts a system and he goes on vacation, he doesn't have to look at it. So because at the end of the day, the system is going to continue to trade until either he tells it to stop, or you call your broker and tell him to stop it for you, or it falls under required capital. My overseas clients really love for that reason, because they don't have to be glued to the screen. But at the same time, they can also come in and try to they can come in and deactivate the system when it's in the middle of the night here, because again, there's no broker involvement. That was part of our problem back in the day, is like, especially when we were working with Danny, is we had to have pre-allocations into the pit. So if I have a pre-allocation doing 100 lot off my compass system or whatever it is, a guy comes in midday and wants to, hey, shave one. Well, we have to go in, hey, Danny, only do 99. And then sometimes we forget to cancel the stop, and now we're hung on a trade. And then we've got to change the allocation. Here, you can do that anytime. And that's important. That comes with the full transparency, full liquidity approach. As you get in, so hopefully that makes sense. So the required capital is based off margin on the swing system and the risk. And also then on the day trade, it's basically just the risk. So going back here, as far as finding a system, oh, and that's another thing before I jump off. We show all the fills, all the orders, the session, everything. So again, full transparency. You'll see what's working. You'll see what orders. You cannot alter the orders. Important. So if you see a stop work and be like, hey, that stop seems a little close to me, I'm going to push it away. You can't alter the orders. The only thing you can do is start and stop the systems. So when we go back to explore systems, so right now we're running 1,330 systems. And that's a lot of systems. And I would say we have active clients on probably, I don't know, maybe 400 to 500 systems. And that's one thing we're working on, because we're systematic. Is, again, back in the day, it'd be like, Walter, what happened to that one system? Oh, we don't track it anymore. Oh, well, what did it do? Or maybe I want to get involved. Every system that we've ever traded, that a client's ever been on, we've never taken off the site. So there's a lot of old technology systems on here that really are no good. But you can sort those out. And those are ones that we're going to come up with a way that my partner was just in Chicago to say, okay, a system that no one's traded for 2 years or viewed on a page, we'll start removing them to narrow this number down. But you guys can filter this stuff. So here we've got our canned filters. Well, you can also do my favorites. If you star them, they'll always show up in your filter. You can say, what's been tracked by more than a year? What has clients required capital, worst drawdown? So say, you can come in here and say, okay, I want to see uh, whatever markets traded, and let's say crude oil and E-mini. So you add the filter. So out of the 13 some odd systems, I've got 247 systems that trade this specific market. Now you can knock it down further and say, okay, out of all those systems, I see, whoa, I want to see the ones that have been uh, last 3 months that have been profitable. So out of the 1,200 some odd systems, I have 104 systems that have been profitable over the last 3 months. So this is where you really start to break it down, where this tells you, what am I looking for? What kind of systems? What's my risk? What's my P&L? And it really goes down to break down as kind of a spreadsheet on steroids. Worst session, current drawdown, worst drawdown, annual rate of return, has clients, required capital, lease costs, trade date. Because again, our goal is to be transparent. But you always have to remember to clear your filters in order to see all the systems. Any questions? I can't see the questions.
Well,
Danny, you see me? What's that, Danny?
okay, Lyndon's asking you a question.
Here, I can see it on my other screen. It's all going to be, it's all black box essentially. So we have our own development software, and that's one thing. If you guys ever get into developing software, so we can show you. Actually, I won't jump over that; it'll get too confusing. You guys can email me and I'll show you. So we've got our own way to develop it because everything has to be hard coded. No, nothing can be a human involved. So we take TradeStation, multi-charts, C#, but then also our own development platform, which is great and it's free. And I'll send it out to everyone. Where if you are interested in developing your own software, it's great to use. Yes, so people submit systems that don't have to trade them with us. That's really how we find systems. So when someone comes to me with a system, it has to first fit our rules, if you will. It has to handle our commission schedule. It has to handle the lease cost. From there, they'll send me testing of the numbers. And again, if it doesn't fit what we're doing, we don't post it. We take them through a process where once we get to a point that it's solid code, my guys have tested it, then we post it to the site. So the site then is fees are controlled by the developer. And we tell them if your lease fees are going to be high, it's going to be built into the performance. So you've got to be reasonable with your lease fees. That makes sense. Because again, it's going to be in the performance. So if you look at, if we pull up any other system, here's $70 a month. So if you look at the first day of the month, come on, load. So come on. I don't know why it's being. So if you look at the first day of the month, $70 has come out. So yeah, on the first day of the month, they made $1,350, but you got to pay for the system. So that's how we factor the cost into the system. As far as developers, we also give you a developer portal. So and we sign NDAs and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I've been protecting systems my entire career. We've never had a problem. But as far as just being on the same page with the developer, we give you what's called the developer portal, where you can see exactly how many contracts are being traded. You can see exactly what you're getting paid at the end of the month. So again, transparency and trust with our developers and with our clients to know that, again, if they're taking all these trades and they can match them up with their statements, whatever that P&L it's going to be at the end of the month. So in a way, you can look at iSystems as almost like the app store that's definitely more regulated to a certain extent, because we just don't put systems up there. If someone sends them to me, it goes through a process. So for us, it's like confidence in the platform. It's going to perform as we're posting. We want everything to make money, but in reality, my job isn't to have my clients make money. My job is to put information in front of them, help them make decisions. Sure, I have an opinion, I have a suggestion. At the end of the day, it's the client's decision on what to trade. Yes, you can lock down the code. We don't care. I mean, it's lock down anything that you like. We just have to be able to run the tests and run the systems. And then before we post the system, the developers will verify the returns, say, hey, are we lining up with you? We are. Okay, we're going forward. And then we post it to all the various websites that we have. So let me go back to, so again, we'll see if this one's in a, so you can either activate from here where it's locked or from the system. And so right now, so before you lease a system, you don't know if it's in a position because we don't want people picking off trades, right? I mean, if you want to look at our top 10 and try to pick off the trades, we post that because they're all in a profit. So if you want to chase the profit, it's a losing position for our clients. But here, again, I'm locked. I can buy the lease. And then once you purchase the lease, and disclaimers, disclaimers, disclaimers. And it's important as we go through this and people look at our website, I feel, our job is to get clients comfortable. So if we go through this entire webinar and you ask me questions, at the end of the day, you don't think this is right for you, I'm doing my job. I want people that are comfortable with what we're trading. If you're not comfortable, I'm going to suggest. I've turned clients away. I'm like, look, you should be trading systems. From here, it's just like, if you're not suitable to trade systems, then you should not be trading. I mean, a lot of people that try to trade futures aren't suitable because they're over leveraging themselves. We feel we're doing the same job. But here, activate. So now it'll tell you, well, now it's currently flat. So now that you've leased it, it's going to tell you its position. So now you can say, okay, it's currently flat. Activate immediately, which you'll take today's trade, or a lot of times this is on the next session. Hey, look, I already took profits for today. Get me in tomorrow. So you can set it and then leave for the day and not have to worry about reactivating it the next day. Activate next session, accept your disclaimer, done. So again, everything's routed directly to the accounts. Everything's routed directly to the exchange. And you're done. And so you see here, the yellow dot, there's your condition. So you can tell the condition that you've told it to do. And if you were live, right, in this area down here is where you would see what your buying power is and things like that. Can it be overridden on the targets? No. So that's one thing you cannot do. You cannot alter the trades. All you can do is start and stop. And that was one of the things with the NFA, and especially we're at what 7 or 8 FCMs, and I had to go through all their compliance departments, all their risk departments, which is like the worst experience ever. It's like going to the dentist, but where we're telling them that, look, I've never had a phone call from an FCM that is worried about iSystems. Never. I mean, knock on wood. Even through the flash crash, even through, especially last February, they know we're systematic. They know we're going to get the accounts out. They know our rules, and clients or brokers can't overrule it. So that's another thing. So you can't call your broker at the end of the day and be like, hey, I'm wiring in money, the money's coming, leave me in positions. Now, that never turns out well, right? Because if the broker says no, you get pissed. If the broker says yes and you go debit, then he's after you. So we feel that we are saving yourself from yourself, if you will. Either the money's in the account and you trade like you want to trade, or send more money in. And I've had those conversations. I've looked at an account that guy had 50 grand in, and I'm going through the accounts and he's got 45 in required capital. I call him. I'm like, hey, how's it going? Happy? Any questions? Can I do anything? Hey, by the way, you're running hot. So you're running 45,000 required capital. The suggested might be 200,000. I go, one of two things, like you're going to get deactivated and you're going to miss a trade, or send more money in, or lower your leverage, deactivate systems, because you got to trade for another day. I mean, Danny and I can tell you 1,000 cliches from the floor. Yeah, you got to be in it to win it, but you got to be able to trade another day. If you can't trade another day, you're out of the game. Or the guys that over leverage. I mean, we can tell you, we've seen people make $1 million and they're the most joyful people in the world. And I've watched people lose $1 million, and it's an awful feeling, because they didn't follow the rules when they would have been like, damn it, if I would have followed my rules, I would have only lost X amount of dollars, and I'm back in the game the next day. Really important. So the minimum account balance, the simple answer is no. We don't have a minimum, but you got to have the required capital. Remember, you can sort by that. You can sort by required capital over here. You can sort by here. You can see what it is. The day trades are going to be much less required capital. But, to me, if someone comes in and is like, hey, I want to open up a $2,000 account and I'm going to trade with a required capital of $1,500. Well, go bet on red or something. I mean, you're not giving yourself room to play the market. You're way over leveraging yourselves. And that's what, somewhat drives me crazy. And that's just my personal opinion, which, whatever that's worth is, some people that offer $500 day trade margins, who can make money off that? I mean, you're going to place a trade, you're going to get stopped out in 10 ticks. I mean, it's just like, it doesn't make sense to me in my brain when it be like, you got to wait to have the right size of investment where you can let the systems do their thing. What's the mix of customers? All over the place. I mean, a lot of the guys, the worst guys are the hedgers, because they think they know more about the soybean market than they do about a system. Like, those guys are like, how could it go long? Exports were doing this. I'm like, dude, we're systematic. It doesn't matter what we think. I think the best clients that we have are guys that, sure, they trade their own accounts. They have a pulse on the market. They want to diversify themselves, because they know either they've had some little success or they haven't, where they want to put more money over there. Then it's also the guy who, look, I don't have tried to day trade my own account. I tried. I can't do it. I can't watch the market. I got stopped out again. I would have taken profits here. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. Well, here in a system, and now that it's ready to go. It's going to do exactly how it's set up to do, with no human interaction. Confidence in the platform. More questions? Again, you can search by market. We do trade a lot of DAX. That's where we've developed the platform. We've been developing the platform for over 15 years. And so we've gone through a lot of renditions of the platform. We're actually in the process of doing, one question I get is, what about a portfolio? I'm just looking at all these individual systems, I want to put them together. That's where we're developing it right now. And so I would say in the next 30 to 60 days, we'll have a whole portfolio tool on here, where you'll be able to go in and set portfolios, track them, watch them, do everything. No, we don't. Platform. What else can I cover here? So I think someone asked about top 10. Again, here's top 10. So this is open architecture. So you can come to automatedtrading.com. You can sign up on, what I do encourage everyone to do is actually sign up on Danny's website, because then we'll send you out a PDF, which really, really breaks down the system. This tool is the Bible to me. I use it every single day. It walks you through everything that's happening. Like, here's an example. Once you activate a system, an email goes out to you. It gives you choices. It gives everything I'm talking about. Now you've got email confirmation that you've got the system, what it is. This is a fantastic tool. Sign up on the site, and we're not crazy people that are going to call you and bug you and everything else. It's more, here's the information. Here's our contact information. Here's how the platform works. If you don't want to go through a webinar and listen to everything else, it's so much easier to do and so much easier for you guys to follow along. Because obviously I talk fast, I get excited about the platform, but once you really kind of come in here and it breaks it down to what it's doing, how we deactivate a system, and that's why we don't have a demo, because it's very, very simple. But yeah, once you start digging into some of these systems, they're absolutely interesting. Here's another one. The philosophy, it's a brand new system. It's done well, get in, but now it's in a drawdown. So this would be one I'd look for a drawdown. best session off the run up, percent of the time in the market. This is in the market 100% of the time, so it's always reversing. This particular developer believes that, hey, I always want to be in the market because I don't want to miss a trade. Again, that's his philosophy. To me, that's pretty aggressive. I like time out of the market. I mean, I don't, especially back in my days as a floor trader, days that I didn't trade or sat on the sidelines, and that's the thing too. So a big number's coming out today. I don't want to be in the market because who knows where the market's going to go. That's your choice. So that was a systematic way of you making a decision. So as you're going to start and stop a system, and I have this conversation all the time. Well, I took profits because I thought this. Hey, that's your business. I'm not going to second guess it. But again, why are you cherry picking the trades going forward when you never did it going backwards? It doesn't make sense to me unless you have a system of doing that. And that's like, especially with the DAX systems, and I've got clients that do that, is they will, I got some clients out of China actually that the DAX market, they get a certain profit target, they get out, and then they automatically get in on next signal and they don't look at the market. So if you're doing something like that, now that's systematic. So at least you're going to follow your own rules, and they've done quite well. They've outperformed the system. So how can developers get on their site? Email me. I send you questions. We started from there. I send about 10 or 12 questions to get an idea if it's something that's going to work. It has to be 100% coded. So I get that, well, I've got this spreadsheet or I got this way I do the trading. No, it has to be coded. Because again, we're not like, back in the day, we used to use a couple other platforms, which is why we developed this. Some guy's shooting an order from the basement. How do you know it's a system? How can I trust the back? So in some aspects, you can look at us as, people ask me, well, is there a third party verification that verified these systems? Us, and I don't know how they're going to perform, but I can tell you from the code that was sent to us, here's how it's performed. Again, with no in the middle. The next question I get is about the developers. Well, what due diligence do you do on the developers? Really none, because the developers aren't involved. Once we get the code, they're gone. They have no access to the system any longer. They can't do anything. They have no access to the clients. They have no access to that. And that's why developers don't have to be registered, because they're software providers. And we've got developers all over the world. You will notice, though, there are different versions of systems, like the Cirrus Suite Tesla 3. So this is the third generation of a system. So if they submit a system and they want to submit a new version, they have to tell us why. Like, what are you changing? Was it an execution code or something, and it wasn't making a material change on the performance? Okay, if there's a material change on the performance, then we show a new system altogether. Because again, I don't want, if we change the code and we don't label it as a new system, well, then it kind of throws everything out the window of the back test, because now we're not showing the other back tests, if that makes sense. What else you got? Oh, my email, I'm simply walter@isystems.com. But when you sign up on Mr. Top Step, you're going to get the PDF and you'll get all of our contact information. Um, I got a team of programmers. We're constantly working on this stuff, constantly monitor, because that's another thing. Some people say, okay, because we charge $15 a round turn for commissions. And some people will be like, that's high. I'm paying $4 over here, $3 over here. But what you get for that, you're getting 24-hour monitoring, you're getting confirmed performance of a system, you're getting execution, it's the entire package. We've spent countless dollars on the platform. So we don't charge clients to get access to the platform. We don't charge developers to post on our website, because again, we want to be a free marketplace. You'll get charged when you'll get charged a commission when a system is executed, and then you get charged a lease fee. Those are the only two costs. And that's one thing about lease fees. So like the one system I said you pay $100 a month, that's for one lot, one contract. So you can start and stop the system 20 times that month. You still just pay the $100. So you don't pay every time you start and stop. You pay the one fee, and you can start and stop as times as you like. Anything else? The link to what? I mean, the best way is sign up on the site, get the PDF. You're going to get links directly. I mean, this is my website, Automated Trading, but that's the link that you guys should go to. Start with the PDF and go from there. Yes, so if you trade more, so what we bill is we bill one lot. So one lot is then per lease fee. Then from there, we do, as I mentioned, have flex packages. And typically like I've got some very large traders, right, that trade a lot of tracks, and we get them deals. So even if you don't see a flex package on this website, almost all developers will give 20% off, and then we bill that automatically to you, to the account. So again, there's no no credit cards, nothing like that, no big upfront costs, because that was another thing that just, it make me so pissed off back in the day, because a client's going to spend $4,000 or $5,000 on a system, then he feels like he's got to trade it. Then once he starts trading it, he realizes the system's not. Well, he's made such an investment, he feels bad because then he wants to keep trading it. Here, you're going to be you're going to be only 1 month out. So again, if it's $100 a month, so you can start anytime that first month. We prorate it. Okay. So if you start on the 15th, we're going to charge you $50 by the end of the month. At the end of the month, and if the system is still active, we will charge you the entire next month. So you're only always out just 1 month of lease fees per system, which to me is as fair as we can possibly be, because we pull the fees at the first of the month, and then so we can't prorate the. So I think that about covers it. Any more questions? Good. Well, hopefully this is helpful. I mean, yes, there's a lot going on here. There's um, there's a lot happening with the website. There's a lot of moving parts, but I think once you guys start digging into it, and if you have an interest in systems, it's all right. Total transparency and confidence in the platform, and that's exactly how we've built it.
Walter, can you hear me?